African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoy, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of December 4, 2025. Russian armed forces continue to conduct a special military operation. Units of the North Grouping inflicted damage on formations of Mechanized Brigade and Storm Battalion of the Ukrainian Armed Forces in the areas of the populated places of Aleksaevka and Varachino in Sumy Oblast. On the Kharkiv direction, damage was inflicted on units of mechanized, motorized infantry brigades and Storm Battalion of the Ukrainian Armed Forces in the areas of the populated places of Vilcha, Staritsa, and Liman in Kharkiv Oblast. The Ukrainian Armed Forces lost more than 155 military personnel, 4 combat armored vehicles, 155mm self-propelled artillery installation Bogdana, 10 cars, a radio-electronic warfare station, and 3 depots of material supplies. Units of the West Grouping improved their tactical position. Damage was inflicted on the personnel and equipment of 3 mechanized storm brigades of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, a brigade of territorial defense, and a brigade of National Guard in the areas of the populated places of Kupianska-Zlovaya, Kucherovka, Kurilovka, Bogoslavka, Novoplastanovka in Kharkiv Oblast, Yerevan, and Drobashevo in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy's losses amounted to up to 210 military personnel, a tank, 2 field artillery guns, including 155mm self-propelled artillery installation Crab of Polish production, 5 combat armored vehicles, of which 4 are of Western production, 14 cars, and 4 depots of ammunition. Units of the South Grouping have occupied more favorable positions. Damage was inflicted on formations of 2 mechanized, airborne, mountain storm brigades of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, Brigade of Marine Infantry and Brigade of Territorial Defense in the areas of the populated places of Seversk, Platono, Sakatno, Berstok, Petrovsko, Konstantinovka, and Stepanovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. The Ukrainian Armed Forces lost up to 150 military personnel, 3 combat armored vehicles, 20 cars, radar station for counter-battery warfare and /TPQ-50 of U.S. production, radio-electronic warfare station, and 4 depots of material supplies. Units of the Center Grouping improved the position on the front line. Damage was inflicted on the personnel and equipment of 5 mechanized, 2 Ranger, Airborne Assault, Airborne Storm Brigades, 2 Storm Battalions, Brigade of Unmanned Systems of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, 2 Marine Infantry Brigades, 2 National Guard Brigades and Brigade of Territorial Defense in the areas of the populated places of Grishino, Sergeyevka, Torso, Volno, Svetloy, Turetsko, Belitsko, Dmitrov in the Donetsk People's Republic and Novopavlovka in Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. Losses of Ukrainian armed formations amounted to up to 490 military personnel, 3 combat armored vehicles, of which 2 are of Western production, 2 field artillery guns, including 155mm self-propelled artillery installation Paladin of U.S. production, 5 cars, as well as rocket launch installation Heron of Croatian production and rocket launch installation of the rocket artillery system Grad. Units of the East Grouping continued to advance into the enemy's depth of defense. A defeat was inflicted on formations of 2 mechanized storm brigades, a brigade of territorial defense and 2 storm regiments of the Ukrainian Armed Forces in the areas of the populated places of Vozvezovka, Dobropol, Varvarovka, Guliapol in the Zaporizhia region and Andriivka in the Dnipro region. The enemy lost more than 215 military personnel, 6 armored combat vehicles, and 16 cars. Units of the Dnipro Grouping inflicted damage on the enemy's personnel and equipment of a mechanized Mountain Storm Brigade, a brigade of coastal defense of the Ukrainian Armed Forces in the areas of the populated places of Novodanilovka, Stepnogorsk in the Zaporizhia region and Nikolskoye in the Kherson region. More than 55 Ukrainian armed forces personnel were destroyed, 18 cars, 2 radio-electronic warfare stations, a field artillery piece, 5 ammunition depots, and material resources. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aircraft, rocket forces, and artillery of groupings of the armed forces of the Russian Federation inflicted damage on the infrastructure of military airfields, places of pre-flight preparation and launch of unmanned aerial vehicles, objects of transport and energy infrastructure used in the interests of the Ukrainian armed forces, as well as temporary deployment points of Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 153 areas. Means of air defense shot down 195 unmanned aerial vehicles of the aircraft type. Forces of the Black Sea Fleet in the northwestern part of the Black Sea destroyed 4 unmanned boats of the Ukrainian armed forces. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, the following have been destroyed: 668 airplanes, 283 helicopters, 100,277 unmanned aerial vehicles, 638 anti-aircraft missile systems, 26,370 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,626 combat vehicles of rocket artillery systems, 31,706 field artillery pieces and mortars, 48,283 units of special military automotive equipment. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.